So first of all, I'm Eric Poulier. Thank you for being here today. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Vatom, and we're going to talk a little about what we do, where we came from, this journey, and what we're hoping to bring to fruition in the coming months and years ahead. We're really excited about what we've been working on. I mean, I've been working on about 15 companies over the decades, and I've never seen a more excited, enthusiastic, talented group come together than what I'm privileged to be part of now. And I think it's because we feel like we're part of something much bigger than ourselves. We saw it before with the web, the advent of the web, and how it affected all of our lives ultimately, and our families and our communities. And now we see it again. Sure, there's been incremental improvements and steps along the way, but the convergence of trends and things that are happening now is truly extraordinary. And so I could not be more excited to present to you today where we are, what we see emerging, and of course, how we can all collaborate on using these tools and helping each other build a new metaverse, really, a new place to live, work, and play. So let me dive right in. Here's our agenda today. I'll just advance the slide. First part of the agenda is me, and a silly picture of me jumping. The point of this webinar is to familiarize you with our philosophy and what we're building towards and what we're hoping to do to bring everyone together. So the first part of it is our background, and then we'll go into the notion of the metaverse and the concept of the objects within it, which we call NFTs. We call them Vatom NFTs. We'll describe why that is, how that came about. We'll give you some sense of how you can be involved yourself if you're not already, and if you are, how this might augment your current trajectory. In addition to the objects, we're going to talk about the spaces, the experience of interacting with them in AR and VR, and what that means for your business. Lastly, we're going to talk about what it means to build a business in this environment. What does it mean to create something in this area and aggregate an audience and then delight them and build a long-term relationship that can ultimately lead to commerce? And of course, how do you jump in yourself? And we'll leave some time for questions. So let's jump right in. The company that we're talking about here, we call Vatom. We've been working on it for quite a few years in various incarnations. I've had my ins and outs with it over the course of this period. As I've sought to bring this to fruition, quite a few individuals and companies have branched off from this initial core concept that we introduced in early 2015 to really build an ecosystem of partners, of professional services organizations, of agencies, of groups that all come together. We've got this open source stack we call Block V, which has an amazing assortment of capabilities to build objects. And then on top of that, at Vatom, we've built an incredible amount of tools that enable commerce, that enable marketplaces, and enable spatial awareness, enable AR and VR, and the various things that you want to build around these objects and bring them to fruition and monetize them. So we're going to talk about that today, top down from the stack, and some of the companies that have brought this to fruition. You can see that these companies are not small. This has been vetted over the years. We now have the most NFTs and NFT metaverse projects in the world today. We have a long way to go, but we certainly have banged on this thing long enough to have 30 million of Vatoms in the world, over 2.5 million wallets, and scores of different metaverse applications. We have so many people joining us from all over the world. I guess I'm getting a little information: Dominican Republic, Vegas, Florida, Seattle, Texas, Guatemala. I mean, it's amazing. And the people are really interested in, well, how do you become part of this emerging economy, which we might call a creator economy? And what is it going to mean to your lives? It's really an incredible moment. We move from traditional stacks of building companies and corporations over long periods to building on the backs of giants to be able to, like Amazon, et cetera, to build faster and faster companies, moving into gig economies, and now into a creator economy that is really going to, I think, empower every one of us. So let's start at the beginning of just this definition of what a metaverse is. A lot of people have different definitions, and by no means am I saying that our definition is the same as everyone's. But let me explain what we mean by it. The space between us as we interact is another dimension that we can fill with our own voices, with objects, with imagination. And today, the way that we interact with these slivers of metaverses is largely in games. So games are silos. Games are individual experiences. They don't connect to one another. Identity is not free across them, and they're not persistent in a way like the web is. The web is in my parlance, in my view, the web was the first real metaverse. It's an open platform. It's a place where anyone can build anything. You can homestead it. You can set up shop. You can invite your friends to see your information, to do business with you, to learn about things. And anyone can build, anyone can monetize it. And it was up to your own ingenuity. But we didn't ask you what device, it wasn't like you needed this device or that plugin, et cetera. Ultimately, what it became is if you have a URL, you can go there. But the metaverse, as that is defined, lacks certain basic capabilities in order to go to the next level of what you might think of as human engagement, the next level of commerce. If you really think of this as an evolution, you can recognize just how powerful this is. This is not like, oh, wow, there's some people selling NFTs. I can get in on that and make a quick buck. Sure, maybe you can, maybe you'll lose your shirt, but that's not the point. The point is that we're part of something massive here, an evolution that started decades ago with the first use of the internet, which was maybe email, moved into certain proprietary services. But when it really busted open, the web and the standards around it started to really allow a next generation of commerce, of engagement, of business across healthcare, education, government, et cetera. And we started with static pages. And we could see instantly that if we can just create the pages dynamically based on databases, that would take us to the next level. And then someone said, well, no one will ever use credit cards. And the video is almost only postage stamp and does 3 frames per second, and that will never go. That will never, not good enough, got knocked down. We had dynamic pages, and we had user-generated content, and then commerce, and then semantic understanding of natural language, and AI-driven pathways that brought us deeper and gave us deeper capabilities. Well, we believe that there's a convergence of technologies you might call Web3. And it kind of reminds me of the Ghostbusters, where you had like these powerful beams and these guys come together. But when the beams come together, it explodes in a much bigger way. And here we are. What's coming here is blockchain and decentralized finance and augmented reality and virtual reality and spatial sound, gamification principles, 5G. As you start to look at each of these things, suddenly you have a convergence of capabilities. What we think it's going to be is spatial. Sorry, there's a question. I think I'm going to take questions at the end because I lose my way here. But as they come up, please do say them. I do want to get to them. So I will get to almost all of your questions, I hope, hopefully all. And anyone that we don't get on this webinar, we will get back to you and get to all of them. But I just want to run through a couple of quick things without jumping in and out too much. What we're hitting here is a spatial era, meaning the web lacked 3 critical ingredients. And if it had those, and we think it's getting those now, not 6 months from now, not a year from now, but right now, the next generation brings us identity where we can move across different things, different websites, our own identity where we can own things and have an inventory, true ownership. That's what an NFT is, and we'll describe that in a moment. And then the ability to experience that in a spatial environment. Traditionally and typically, as you saw AR, it was a gimmick. It was a way to play a little game or to hold your phone over something and it'll wave at you. Everyone got sick of that 10 years ago, let alone 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years ago. So right now, we're at a stage where when you really look at an object, an NFT, an augmented reality, and I pick it up, it's gone for everyone. When I put it on the table, it's there. I don't have it anymore. This idea of possession merging with experience now changes everything because it's a shared reality. What we're talking about when we talk about a spatial web or a next generation metaverse is a new dimension on top of the physical dimension that is persistent. And it's very, very simple when you see it, and you're about to. And you'll understand that if you put it in the terms of the evolution of the web, you'll see just how powerful this is. Now, what we're trying to do is a bit opposite of what I think a lot of people want to do, which is how do you make the quick buck? How do you get your token going or whatever it is? Yes, we want all these things to rise in relation to the community's involvement and the businesses that build on top of it. But again, we're part of something we believe that is a movement that we hope to stand the test of time. And again, it's not just us. We're part of a huge ecosystem of companies, innovators, creators, and we want to be part of it. Now, what we want to bring to it is an openness for the creator economy. To date, we've done a lot of work with corporations, and we'll continue to allow that. We'll continue to encourage companies to get on here, build their brands, build brand awareness, build campaigns. But what really is emerging now for us as we go to this next stage is this notion of a developer and creator economy. What will you build? The web didn't become successful because we finally convinced Toyota to make a website. Toyota making a website gave everyone curiosity, and when American Express built one, they got more curiosity. But what made the web is that you and every single person built their own thing and innovated at scale. So we're looking to empower companies and creators and developers, we'll talk about what creators mean, to activate, engage, and ultimately monetize audiences at a vast scale, the internet scale, the scale of the web. We do this by laying down 5 pieces. Each of these 5 pieces in some form or another is available today. I'm proud to say, happy to say that each of these things has a roadmap miles long, and we'll describe that as well and publish those. But right now, you can actually go and for free, and we'll describe how you can do this, create your own spatial web, your social metaverse, invite your friends, do business. You have access to a studio where you have a simple and advanced NFT builder. The simple one, we're going to make available to anyone just by clicking on it. The more advanced one, if you're interested, we'll make it available to you too. But my gosh, you can do some amazing things with this. The Vatom market. Well, today marks the alpha of this. In the coming weeks, every 2 weeks, you're going to see more and more about this. But this turns the entire world into a flea market. Every single person becomes a creator. Every creator becomes a seller. Every seller becomes a buyer. And we don't mean it just in the traditional form. Those of you who know NFTs know traditional sites. You can go to a website, go to the market, buy things. Sure, we'll have one of those too, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But that's really a way to allow us to see the e-commerce economy as it is today. Where we're trying to move it next is we're allowing you to take the objects you create and literally drop them on the street corner with a price. Imagine making a piece of art. Imagine making a poem. Imagine creating something for sale out of your imagination, whether it's physical or digital, as it might have a digital only presence or might have a physical equivalent that you can cash in if you want to. Imagine taking that, creating it fast, dropping it on the corner of 3rd and Main, and somebody picking it up and paying for it. And then that person deciding not to do a complex campaign to resell it, but dropping it again, or bringing it into a spatial web environment and dropping it there, or sending it to their friend and selling it. The acceleration of commerce is astounding, and we're going to see that in a minute. You as the user, as the creator, is going to be empowered to make anything you want and to create these communities of interest and to create commerce within them. The wallet is evolving fast. Right now, you're going to see a simple capability. You'll see it as the core ability to hold your things, to find things in the universe, to go into the spatial web, to have these things move seamlessly between AR and VR. But pretty soon, you're going to see the wallet become a creator tool. You're going to be able to use it right wherever you are to make things yourself. So the more advanced creator tools might be on your laptop with the studio. The wallet itself will be that. It's also going to become a community tool to find people and elevate the things that people are doing. Now, there's another type of community which we've launched at a nascent stage, but now we're really turning our attention to the creator community, APIs, tricks, tips, ways to do development. We'll be running hackathons. We'll be doing development conferences, and very excited about where this is going. So very quickly, this is like, we don't know exactly the level of sophistication that you guys have in this environment, but we do know that you have asked certain questions that we're going to bring to the fore here. So please let us know in the chat, have you used an NFT before? Have you built them? How have you done them? Do you have ideas of your own of what they can be? But one thing is certain, before I get to that, I'm in the part of this where I want to talk about the spatial web itself, and then how the NFTs are built, and then how they become part of a single view. So importantly, hold on a second, I'm just going to continue this. Importantly, the spatial web is a place where that is social. And if you think about the NFT craze, so this is what I'm going to urge everyone to do. Every single one of you is going to have, something that you may want to bring out into the world. But keep in mind, as this becomes democratized, as this becomes ubiquitous, everyone under the sun is going to be making NFTs. In 2015, we put forward the idea that there should be a such thing as a non-fungible token, and we'll go through that in a moment. But since then, this gold rush has rushed in, and everyone under the sun puts everything that they can in, and that's fine. We have no issue with that. But we are trying to elevate the discourse to our belief that the capabilities that rise to the top, where the commerce really will come, is around narrative and story. It's around building things that are gamified, that have a reason to draw you in, to come back, and to be part of something that's bigger than simply the image or view of it itself. And that's why when we talk about what these objects can do, we're going to pay special attention to what the objects do and where they can do it. So in the spatial web, you can bring these objects into this, and you can see some examples here. Infinity ran their global summit and introduced their new branding. P&G, the largest advertiser in the world, has recognized that the post-advertising world is about engagement. It's about drawing you into something that you feel was worth your time and giving you true value for that time. And they built an entire experience in spatial web that became really quite fun at its core. The Cannes Lions was something that was extraordinary. We brought the largest group ever together in one meta space, one metaverse space. And of course, Intel is absolutely astounding. If we have time, I'll show you guys a little bit about that. But they did 70 simultaneous presentations in one URL with their top-level scientists and people roaming about in 70 individual sound attenuation zones. When I saw that, I really felt like the internet's never going to be the same. When Slack ran their developer conference in spatial web, you can see that there's a different level of agency and a feeling of being there. And that's why we say we want to bring the world together in the real world, quote unquote, real world, where you can connect through objects of value that then become a communication pathway between people, or in the virtual world where you actually can run right up to somebody and hear them in your left ear and ask them to go on an adventure with you or move on in a very spontaneous and natural way. We talked about Intel and Procter & Gamble, where they not only built things for consumer brands, but for their presentation and their communities and the business world as well. So importantly, before I jump into the NFT side, I'm going to show you just a quick piece of this, and then I'm going to show you a little piece, and then we're going to go in deeper. So let's just take a look at one area. I'm going to take you into a space that, let's see, I'll take you right into this space first. It's a space that has some interesting qualities to just get you a sense of how you move around. But then I'm going to come back and talk about the Vatoms and how they go in and out. So remember that this space that I'm taking you into is just a website. There's no downloads, there's no plugins, and here I am. And as a base level, we're using video, but we're going to enable avatars. Again, it's a developer platform. You can make what you want to make. But when you have a video, you have a more human experience than doing business perhaps with a rabbit or with a zombie. Doesn't mean you don't want a rabbit or a zombie for various reasons, and there'll be entire economies around these kind of avatars. You can see as I get closer, the sound comes on. And then I go farther,
360
it stops. These are sound attenuation zones, and it lets you make extremely sophisticated aural landscapes
to help solve the world's biggest problem.
And you can see where there's an overlap between these two. This is a developer edition, so I'm doing this to show you visually what it looks like.
And this kind of exponential growth in your life,
you see perfect synchronicity between these things. Now, this avatar that I have here, I can go up here. Imagine that if I can come up on this mountain and I can take up my guitar, put out a tip jar, and then thousands of other people can come. That's the level of scalability that we're bringing here. Unlike Fortnite, which might have 100 people and then you shard to another 100, we're looking to bring the entire world together in a spatial version of the web. Now, importantly, if you are on the other side of this, we're going to go through a whole bunch of these things, but I want you to see the Vatom side as well, and then how these things come together. So just to continue that discussion, when we're talking about the spatial web, now we talk about inventory. Just quickly, you can see that I have a wallet here. And you see that this wallet just has a couple objects in it. It has a killer whale and it's another whale. I'm a whale guy today. Here's my phone, and you can see if I go into my wallet, I'll bring up my wallet here. Let's just bring it up. The same things. So importantly, the first thing to remember is that your identity is your identity. So whether I go into a spatial environment or I go into a real world environment on my phone, my stuff is my stuff. That's the essence of what an NFT is. Now we'll talk about a little about what that is, how we make them, and then I'm going to put something else in the wallet and bring that whole thing full circle. So let's go back to this for a moment and talk about the objects that are now in the wallet, the notion of an NFT. In 2015 and in 2014, as we were working in blockchain related initiatives, it was very clear that this notion of every token being just like every other token on a blockchain was limited. It was great for doing things for trading value or holding value, like gold, tokens, like Bitcoin, but for distinguishing them to make a ticket that one was not like the next, or a coupon, or anything that might need the difference between tokens. It just wasn't there. We put forward this notion of what if you can actually make a Bitcoin not boring? What if you can make it come alive with 3D graphics, animation, sound, change state based on external events, and actually hold value? The notion of an NFT really is that. It's an independent way to authenticate a token on a blockchain. And because NFTs can be associated with visuals and audio and other types of content and code, it's really an experiential object, an experiential digital object. And that's what we mean by NFT. Now, you can make a simple NFT simply by throwing a JPEG on it and call it an NFT. Vatoms go much farther. So Vatoms are a type of NFT that are really about what we talked about earlier, the difference between pure gambling and making something that also can be used for speculation, but 95% of the value is in what it does. And because inherently a Vatom NFT has these special properties that move seamlessly between the digital world and the physical world. I can throw something into augmented reality like a Coca-Cola. Someone could pick it up, go to 7-Eleven, get a real Coke, and then take that back and bring it into spatial web and combine it with something else. And then if the Lakers get over 100 points, it can turn into a taco. So the fact is that these can change state, combine, move between AR and VR, makes them a unique type of NFT. The way we think about it is dissolving the boundaries between the physical and the digital. That's why we call them virtual atoms. And so the notion of a Vatom is that they can be collected and traded, just like NFTs you may have heard of, traded on traditional exchanges or on our own marketplace, moved about. You truly do own them, but they make it much easier to make them interesting. They make it much easier. This platform makes it much easier to make them combinable, redeemable, and to allow them to change state based on the weather and sports scores and stocks or whatever it is that you want. So the way that you can get these Vatoms also is important, how you can distribute them. You can pluck them off of an Instagram ad or off a Facebook ad. You can take them off the radio or off a magazine ad, off a QR, or anywhere a QR code is. Anywhere where you can do, in the wallet itself, it has visual recognition. So anywhere where you can find something that you've set to be recognized visually, you can pull it right off. And so you can get it from a friend. You can buy it, again, off of augmented reality or buy it off of the marketplace. But because they're so easy to be found and so easy to consume, we find that our mission, what we believe our mission to bring humanity together, is also to make it easier and easier to use. Traditionally, blockchain technologies are still coming up the ramp where it's just not easy to use. hard to onboard, hard to build things, and very hard for the average person to really get involved in a way that becomes part of their everyday life. Our mission is to create the kind of complexity abstraction layer to create the interface to the blockchain, interface to the metaverse that will allow both the developer and creator community to easily make things and the user community to easily consume things, and ultimately for users to become creators. Just quickly to understand what a Vatom is, this Vatom NFT, on the right is the elements of what a crypto coin brings, a crypto token. On the left is the aspects that gets wrapped around it. When I first put forward the term Vatom, the reason was twofold. First, everyone thought it was too geeky to call it NFTs, and everyone said no one will ever use the word NFT. Same way they told us that, I guess, video would never go faster than 5 frames per second at a postage stamp size on the internet. But we needed something that was catchy and that told the story. For us, Vatom does it because on one side, you have this blockchain-based capabilities, which really allow you to in some ways trick the human brain into thinking that it has no less physicality, reality than something made out of atoms, right? It is finite, it's authentic. You can move it from one place to another, but if you move it, then where it was, it no longer was. If I give it to you, I don't have it anymore, right? All of this are elements of a Bitcoin. You can trace it, you can own it. So this is what makes it the same in our brains as something that is physical, and that's why it makes it valuable. Scarcity equates to value in the human brain. And these elements that we get from the blockchain innovations are magnificent, but they're also not good enough to move from boring to exciting to engaging and to allow us to now use it in a completely different way that will change the world. So the 30 million NFTs that we've created have these elements on the right, but the reason why they're successful is at the left. The left is the story, the narrative. What can they do? How do they change state if something happens? What happens if you get 5 and you combine them and become something, or you can put them in an album and the smart album knows and encourages you to go to the next step and moves seamlessly between AR and VR. This idea that they only exist in AR or only exist in your wallet or only exist in VR defies the whole nature of the metaverse we're trying to create, where it's one persistent, seamless plane on our existing reality. It's just a new layer of where we're going to live, work, and play. And so the most important thing on this slide I'll leave you with is this: the network aware piece. The network awareness is what we might say creates the relationship between creator and owner. If I make something, if I'm an artist and somebody has it, now I have a living, breathing, ongoing communication channel to that person. I don't need to go through Facebook. I don't need to go through Instagram. I don't need to tweet them. They have something, they have a wallet. If they've opted in to continue the relationship, that's now my honor to build on it. That honor is something you have to earn every single day. If somebody says, how do I make a better ad? I would say, please don't make a better ad. There is no such thing. We're sick of that. If you want my attention, the only thing that matters to me in the world is my time. If you want to take that precious amount of time I have left on this earth for something for you, you better give me more value than the time I'm going to spend, which means the time has to be extremely small and the value extremely high. And that means that if you give me something, I'll say thank you. But that network awareness and that connection now means that you can need to earn every day that relationship. But now you have the opportunity. So the opportunity to build an audience and have this direct channel to them and build direct first-party data, and then to leverage that for the mutual benefit of this relationship, that's the future of advertising. That's the future of marketing. That's the future of value. And I believe it's the future of human engagement. Because they also hold value, that communication channel now also allows you to use shorthand analogies to value. Because yes, I can earn it every day, but also everyone knows what a coffee is. You answered this question, you did this quiz, you went to this physical location, this coffee fell on you. I don't have to describe to you what a coffee is. Go into Starbucks, get a real coffee. You got a sneaker, there's sneakerheads, they trade them. So you can use these analogies, and now these things will trade, but not just trade because they're scarce. They'll trade because they have story, because they have value around them. They do interesting things, and they're fun. So let me just move on to the next thing. So our belief in Sum is that this changes everything for you as a creator. And this is a good point to describe what we mean by creator. So we move to creator economy. A creator is, on one side, somebody who has no technical interest or knowledge and wants to use the tools and just bring an audience together and build these relationships with that audience and ultimately monetize them, all the way to a developer that wants to extend the platform, use their imagination, make anything that they want. But they have one thing in common. They want to create a direct relationship, and they want to earn it every day. And that's what this is about, is ultimately creating that opportunity to build that together. So I'm going to show you how all this comes together now. Let's go back to the spatial web. If you recall, here's me standing on here with my proverbial guitar, as people would aggregate below. I'm going to show you a couple of these areas. But first, I'm going to show you how to make an object and then bring them through. So if you go to Vatom.com, this is changing, by the way, very quickly. So forgive us if this website doesn't look the same when you next go to it, but you get the idea. It's essentially going to be the same. It'll just be a lot more consolidated and clear about what we're trying to bring to the world. But this does the trick, right? There's a couple key things here. There's a wallet, there's a studio, how to make stuff, and then there's a way to go in and experience it. So let's go have a wallet. By the way, you can do this for free and go into any of these, make an account, and jump across that. So I just went into a wallet, and again, this is my phone. Now let's say I wanted to go and I wanted to make something. I'm going to go in to Studio. I could just type in the URL, but to show you how to do it, the URL is studio.vatom.com. You can go to vatom.com and click on it. And I'm going to make a new Vatom. This is super, super simple. And what you're going to see here is the simple Vatom maker. It's even going to get simpler in the wallet, but then it's extremely extensive behind the scenes. And I might show you a little glimpse of that as well. But I'm telling you, if you get into this and you want to see the depths of what you can do and the complex level of campaigns that some of the largest companies in the world are doing, you can do that. But look how simple this is if you don't want to. I'm going to make a NFT right with you right now and show you the magic of what it can do. So here it's asking me for a 3D object. I happen to have one here. It's a small little owl. So I'm going to load up this object into the main design art space. It says I'm an owl. Hello. That owl is now my main object here. I'm going to give it, it's asking me what do I want it to look like. So I actually need, is that a picture of an owl? Nope, that's a picture of something else. I'll go make a picture of an owl. And then I'm going to make that the icon of what it shows up in the wallet. Because you got to tell it like, okay, that's what the thing is, but what does it actually look like? So here's the owl. I'll say that's good enough. That's my owl. And then I'm going to give it a name. How about owl? Not very creative. And then I'll give it a category. These categories matter because this is how it'll get categorized later when people are looking for it. Let's make it a collectible. The number, this is key. If you make it a 1 of 1, it has a certain level of value in people's minds. You can make it a number of whatever. Right? So let's just make 10 of these. But remember, when you mint something on a blockchain, it's forever. So when I'm putting this number in, I cannot change that. There will only be 10 ever made in the world of this NFT. And that's it. That's how simple it is. It's now publishing to the blockchain. Importantly, the Vatom platform is blockchain agnostic, meaning that we support every blockchain and we're working really closely with some of the major groups that have blockchains. Ethereum, Polygon, Palm, EOS, I mean, the list goes on. This one is set right now to just mint on the, which blockchain is this one on? This is on Polygon. So I'm going to show you, we've now done it. Just thank you, congratulate yourself. Now I have this wallet here and it says I've made 10 of these owls. I can actually scan this and take one, or I can make a new distribution, and there's all sorts of distribution methods here. I can put it on the map, which we'll show you in a minute. I can put it up for sale, which we'll show you. I can add image recognition. But let's just make it simple, and I'm going to take one of these by going into my wallet and grabbing one. So it'll notice that. It'll say, I'll take one out of it, and let's see if it'll come in here. Let's make it, bring it in. It's now minted. And there it is. So what's happened here is this owl is a 1 of 10. You can actually see on the list here in the studio that there's 10 total that have ever been made. 1 is minted, 9 are still available, and 0 are for sale. Now, interestingly, I can do some interesting things with this guy. Remember, they're programmable. I could program this guy to love pizza, and if I drop him on the map, he'll look in Google Maps and go from pizza to pizza place and maybe drop a note to them. But here I haven't put any code in him, but he's still available, so now he's on the map. Well, let's look around. There's a whole bunch of things in here, so we'll see other things. But I just dropped this guy here. Let's look around in my real world environment. What do we got going here? This is my little office here. There's an iHeart. Ah, he says it's back to us. That NFT, you can see that we're in my office here. That NFT is a 1 of 10 that could ever be made. I think it just actually skedaddled around. But now the way that you see these things, you can see that there's a bunch of other things in this world. You can look at them. There's a stormtrooper here. There's a giraffe. The way that you look at them, actually, it's quite interesting. You can look at it in AR. You can look at it on the map. You can see here and see what things are in this environment. So you can see there's the owl. I'll just pick it up again. Now it's back in my inventory. But now let's go into this spatial web environment and take a look at my wallet. You can tell the wallet's the same because my identity is here. And let's go down here and find a place to put it. So if I take this wallet, the owl here, you saw I dropped it in my office in the real world environment. I can just as well drop it here. And there it is. Now there are tools which you'll learn that can do a wide variety of things, such as this is a big wallet. This is a big owl. This owl is now being made big by me, and I'm going to move out. And there he is. So this is no longer in my wallet, as you can tell. Now, anyone who comes along here, just as you could have in my office, who sees this can pick it up. Now, I dropped it without a price. Let me pick it up. It's in my wallet. Now, if I come into the studio here, what if I wanted to sell it? Well, the first thing is you have to become a seller. Very, very easy process. We can show you how to do that, and you can learn it yourself. But basically, if you're not a seller, there'll be a button that says become a seller. I'm already a seller, so I'll come in here and it lets me list it in the marketplace. So I'll list the owl. I'll say I'm going to sell it for $15.50. And there you go. This owl now has a marketplace distribution. It's sold for $15.50. There's 1 in stock. And lo and behold, in a few minutes, we can actually buy it. Now, really importantly, if I take that owl, which I have here, and now it's in the marketplace, and I drop it in the real world, and someone tries to pick it up, they'll now have to pay that. Or I can drop it in spatial web, and same thing. The price now sticks with the object. Now, importantly, I can also make it unlisted, so it wouldn't show up in the market. But today we're releasing the alpha version of Vatom Marketplace, where here it is. It was that simple. Now I can also sell it very easily from a next generation wallet, which you'll see coming soon, because we also want to enable people to sell from a wallet. So in the future, let me see, in the future, you'll be able to go into something like this, and you'll be able to go right to your inventory, and you'll be able to. Oops, sorry, that's a little typo there. And you'll be able to go into your inventory, and you'll go up to something like, oh, this guy is an interesting object. I created it, has different qualities, and you say, well, actually, what I'd like to do with it is sell it. And so you can do it in the marketplace, but you can also do it in other ways. And you see this guy would be listed. Eventually, he'll turn into something that goes on there. So I just wanted to be clear that the ultimate goal here is, yes, we're opening up all the SDKs and the APIs and developer communities and the hackathons. We're also going to try to make it super simple for the entire world to become a creator. Imagine that you're somebody who has something to offer anywhere in the world, and you can put this out there, and and the way that the commission structures work and that we can create recursive commerce is just going to be absolutely astounding. And so anyway, super exciting to see where that goes. We now have put 2 things on the marketplace through Studio and through the wallet itself, and the world can move forward. Now let's talk about the different ways that these spaces actually come alive. So we showed you this. Now take a look at this other idea of commerce. Now you can imagine that the boring concept of the normal home pages, yes, buy, sell, trade. But when you get into experiential elements and you get into the social aspects of it, imagine what you can do, because now you're in a world, whether you're in AR or VR, they'll work the same. But let me just put it on my video so you can see here. Note here on the right of my screen, it says 8. That's how many coins I have. Now I got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, etc., 14, 15. So I'm picking up these coins. When you have something that's scarce, it's a very different buying behavior than something that is abundant. So in the future of NFTs, the notion of it being short-lived, that I have to get it now, or that I'm in a social type environment, will change the way we buy. So this is me picking up coins. Now this is me using them. Now imagine Amazon became very successful with their one-click buy. Imagine a no-click buy where you can just run right over something and deduct those coins. That just deducted a certain amount of coins from my wallet, and I picked up that NFT. I now own that, and you can see that it's on my phone, and I can take it, I can put it for sale, and I can drop it in the real world. I just took it out of Spatial Web, and I just dropped it on the map, and now, lo and behold, it's in the world out here. If I can find it, let's see, look around here. There it is. And so that concept, let's see if I can bring it up here again. That concept just went full circle. I picked up coins. I ran over something. I bought it. I filled it up. I dropped it here. I could have dropped it for sale. I'll pull it back in, and I have it back. So really powerful. Next really powerful thing that I want you guys to see and understand, because these are building blocks of the next generation metaverse, what you're going to build, not what we're going to build. I'm going to go through this portal here. When I come out on the other side, you're going to see a very sophisticated type of NFT. Okay, so I'm in here. You can see I'm in that building here. I'm going to come outside, and in the distance, you'll see a doggy. This dog has just noticed us and noticed me, I guess, and is now coming over. This is a dog on the Ethereum blockchain. It knows us. If it gets thirsty, it can go. It has 99 behaviors. It can go and decide that seeking water is the next thing it should do, or if it decides that somebody coming in is someone that it wants to greet, like it's doing now, and it'll come over to me and sit down and greet me. But again, remember, it's network aware. So if it's a Yankees fan and they hit a home run, it can start barking and spit out something redeemable at the concession stand, or etc. What really blows my mind, and I hope you'll all think about, is where we started. This notion of the Vatom NFT being seamless between AR and VR makes it the glue between modalities of living, between dimensions. And I say modalities of living is because I do believe we're going to live this way. This is where we're going to play. This is where we're going to do commerce. It's not just a game. It's an extension of the web. So imagine that this dog, you don't have to imagine it because it's real today, can go through a wormhole and leave this environment, walk out into Central Park in New York, and be a one of one, and then walk out through a wormhole and come back. So now we've connected these universes. We've connected them with commerce. We've connected them with play, with gamification, with a new form of engagement. Yes, we're going to see a crash in the market of NFTs because everyone's throwing in every JPEG they can imagine. But as with all things, Gordon Bowen, one of our advisors and a very wise man, said to me that objects plus story equals treasures. We believe that. That's our ethos. We are trying to empower the world to tell stories, to build things that matter, and with that, build treasures. So I'm going to show you guys one more thing because I want you to see the type of media that can be played here. What I'm bringing you in is what iHeart built for CES this year with MediaLink. and you'll see multiple types of media, and hopefully between what you've seen and the creator tools that you now available to you, you'll see how your imagination can go far beyond what we've done today. So here we are in the world. You can see that some of the largest agencies in the world set up shop here: Omnicom Media Group, Dentsu, IPG, Publicis, Horizon, WPP. Each of these brought 50 or 60 types of people. We had 700 people show up because of the spatial sound. All of them could move. They all learned it within minutes. These are not gamers. These are people in their 50s, 60s, 70s that instantly got it, talking about all sorts of things. And then you can see that if I play some media in the background here,
the fundamental drive of humanity is to connect.
It's playing on multiple
from
screens.
cave walls to the telephone, television, computers. Tim Berners-Lee bringing us the World Wide Web.
Perfect
and
view of the
Mark
stage.
Andreessen creating the first browser. The way we've connected has evolved to span great distances at incredible speeds. Philip Rosedale gave us a glimpse of the future metaverse with Second Life. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto proposed and built the first blockchain, a new way to bring trust to parties wanting to connect and exchange value. 8 years later, in early 2015, the first NFT, the Vatom, was invented by Vatom CEO Eric Pollier as a new way to transmit value, connect, and engage like never before. Powered by the token V, Vatom's take off where Bitcoin started, leveraging the blockchain to drive interactivity and engagement through fully programmable actions and artificial intelligence. Vatom's extend reality, moving seamlessly from the real world.
So you can see, with limited time, so I want to leave time for questions, that this is playing on multiple screens at the same time. Now, if I move into the Omnicom group here, take a look at this. This is actually Times Square live right now as we speak. As I move in here, you'll be able to see it. I can get a perfect view of it here. So this is streaming Times Square as we speak, and it's a very, very different type of feeling to be here together with others, thousands of others at once, with spontaneity, to watch something, to enjoy something, to take and deal and trade and interact with digital objects, leaving with more than you came with, coming back, interacting with folks, all with live video. At the same time, within the environment, I can share my, actually I wanted to share my webcam, but you can share your screen, you can share your webcam. If I wanted to, I'm going to share my webcam. If I wanted to create a live event like this, you can see that there I am here. People can come up, and you can imagine in an environment with huge numbers of screens together that the way that people will communicate will change forever. Picking up brochures off the table, network-aware NFTs. NFTs, remember, don't just represent art to trade. They represent code, mini apps, if you will, that can come alive. They can be prescription bottles. They can be brochures. They can be land title. They can be anything that you can imagine. Tickets for back rooms. A lot of people are going to be building these, by the way, with VIP back rooms that monetize their audience in that way, by creating spaces that you need to be a subscriber in order to get into. And that's where your maybe best NFT drops will happen. That's where your celebrities and people that people want to hang out with. Here, Slack did 5 simultaneous stages. And I think it's a really, really special time to be alive right now. Our opportunity to build things is like nothing that we've ever seen before. Our opportunity of what it means to build an art gallery, our opportunity to mean what it means to build a store, to build a club, to build art, and how we distribute it and how we monetize it and how we connect to one another is changing fast. What we hope to do at Vatom is to build a platform to fit into the larger ecosystem that empowers you as developers and creators to make anything that you want and to be able to earn your living in the metaverse. So with that, why don't we take some questions and go from there. First question, can you use a MetaMask wallet? So the answer is yes. The way that will work Here.
Yeah.
Are we on?
Click on the pen. It's generating a new room. We have no idea which one we're back in.
I don't know what happened.
Back. And then share your screen.
Okay. I think we're back. That might have been a little glitch there, but let's answer a few questions and proceed. What was that one called? 7 phases. Can you guys show me some questions and let's go there. The first one was about MetaMask. So MetaMask is a very important, I think, part of the ecosystem now. And the way that, let me explain very carefully how this works. It's like a lot of NFT communities. We want to limit the not only carbon footprint, but most importantly, in the case of your commerce, is your gas fees. So when you mint something or build a Vatom within the world, you can buy, sell, and trade it at no cost within the world. And you can set your commissions and you put it in AR and people can buy it. And that'll move within our system. It'll also be kept track of on the blockchain itself. But when you want to move it out, let's say you want to move an object out into OpenSea, for instance, then you can do that. Now, this is where you'll have to attach your MetaMask or something like it, because you want to pay gas fees to move on the Ethereum blockchain a Vatom from our world into the larger world, and that costs blockchain fees. So that's where MetaMask might come in. Any plans to be on Tron? So importantly, and I think it's a very important statement, is that the underlying architecture that Block V put in place, which is the open source stack that we co-created, is really built in an extremely smart way as far as my estimation, because had they chosen one blockchain, you're basically stuck with that forever, as opposed to anticipating that these blockchains are going to leapfrog each other with all sorts of different types of functionality. And so that's what's happened with the great team at Block V, the open source stack that powers the underlying object model and object code. They can handle any blockchain, and it doesn't take much time at all to onboard one. So yes, there's 4 or 5 that have already been done. But let's say, for instance, that Tron became interesting to us because there was a community there that we got involved with, or that we came to our attention, wanted to use it. We can focus on that for 2 weeks, and Tron would be compatible forever. Another question. This one? Yep. Any suggestions how this technology, NFTs, can embed it into audio and video media? Absolutely. So, I mean, the way the question's worded, it says how this can be embedded into audio and video media. But I'll word it 2 ways. How can this be embedded into audio and video media? And then how can audio and video media be embedded into this? So it's both. If you recall, if I go into the studio here and I say I want to make a new Vatom, there's a lot of templates if I got into the other thing, but this is the simplest one, and it's letting me put in video right here. But we have templates where you can put in all sorts of music and different types of media and mix and match it, etc. So the point is that if you really wanted to embed media into the Vatom, you can do that. But you can also take media that has any kind of programmability or links and create a meta layer where the objects are embedded inside of it. And I really do think that's the future of media distribution, is that you'll have the media, you'll have your commission structure and your payment structure embedded in it, and then the whole thing will be wrapped as a Vatom NFT. How does Vatom get paid? So Vatom, we ask ourselves that quite often. So that is a common question among here. So the deal is, we mostly are going to get paid at scale. We really see this as the evolution of the web. Like, how did people who were involved in the early stages of the web get paid? Well, they figured out a way to get paid, right? Google gets paid, Snapchat gets paid, a lot of companies get paid, but the way that you ultimately need to do it is you get ubiquity. So we want to keep our fees super low in the early stages, actually in all stages, and try to make things free wherever possible. And then what we want to do is we want to find our ways to I would say, help super users with ways that they can make money as we make money. So in other words, we'd like to make money when you make money. Patreon is a good example of that out in the world today. We'd really like to be in a position where we can encourage maximum use and then say, okay, look, it's costing us now to manage this extra layer of security, or to build these extra servers, or to handle this level of volume, or to run this e-commerce capability. So as you start to get into more and more sophisticated things that we can add value to, we'd like to share in that upside. And that's our goal, is to be part of that creator economy by fueling it, empowering it, and being very reasonable, so that we ultimately can make it a volume play. I have a question. Someone has just said, I want to have a room for me to talk with my followers. Do I need to mint that room, or is it available for free? How does it work? Aha, good question. Unlike games where you have, in such that you're playing in someone's game where you have to say buy land and then homestead it, like in a game, this is more like the web, where you just kind of make a website and you'll pay based on let's say volume or commerce, or what you use in the more advanced tool sets that we bring to bear. So the answer is no, you do not need to pay. You can make it for free. Let me show you how. If you go to this website, www.spatialweb.net, and you want to make a spatial website, you can come in here and you can say, get my space. And what it's going to do for me, it's going to show me the space I already have, because I'm logged in. But let's say, for the sake of argument, I was not logged in, and I was you, for instance. I'm now not a user, and I can say, get my space. And what it's going to ask me to do, it's not going to ask me for money. It's going to ask me for my name, for my email address. Here's my name. I'm going to try to put in the email address that I haven't. Actually, what Google lets you do is put in email addresses that are unique this way. So I say Eric plus demo2@vatominc.com. This should be an email address it's never seen before. I hit get a space. It's asking me for a code. So I'm actually going to look up in my email for a code, which is hopefully comes in. There's my code, 1903-1903. And now I'm going to verify this. It's going to ask me for a name for my space, most likely. So I'm going to put up a handle, and my space is going to be called webinar space. So now it's actually going out to our servers, and it's provisioning an entirely new spatial web instance connected to all of them. It's just a URL, and I can name it. So let's say I'm going to name it webinar. What day is today? Friday. So now there is a space. Actually, if you go to this URL, we can try it, spatialweb.net/@webinar Friday. It's all cat, didn't matter. This space did not exist 2 minutes ago. It now does. I can now send this URL to my friends. They can show up, and look how easy it is to customize it as well. Let's say I go into here and I want to put something on the wall. Let's move this over a little bit so we have a little space, and let's go over here and say, who's our favorite guy in the world? It's always Rick Astley. So let's go to Rick Astley and look for an image of him, and let's save that on the desktop. There's our man. Save image as. Save it on the desktop. We'll call it Rick. Here it is. And come into Webinar Friday. So I just made this space. Where's my, oh, it's over here on my other desktop. Let's just find it here for a moment. I'm going to drag it over so you guys can see it. I happen to have two desktops. So you can see that it's on my desktop next to my browser. I'm going to grab it off my desktop. I'm going to drag it into Spatial Web. I'm going to put it on the wall. It's now brought it into the world. And it's uploading it into our servers, and it put it on the wall. So take a look at this. Anywhere in the world that anyone goes to this site with full 3D spatial sound and 3D graphics and animation, etc., we can now enjoy the wonders of Rick Astley. Are there tutorials to create your own art gallery? Can you automatically distribute NFT cells under the curator of the gallery? Yes. The answer is, for those interested, we'll start to send out the invitations to our training sessions, as well as our tutorial videos. And show you how you can monetize your own galleries. Before I ran into this other question, I was going through this gallery, which I happen to like a lot. This is a NFT gallery. Some of these NFTs are selling on OpenSea, which is a pretty good NFT gallery, and some of these you can just buy right here, which makes it a lot simpler and cheaper. Absolutely amazing. Can I link the NFT to my XRP address? Yes, you can link anything to anything. We can show you how. Beauty of the web is it's linking, and we certainly want to enable you to link as you wish. Speaking of as you wish, this was a demonstration today of what we believe will be the future direction of the creator economy. The ability to step into a new world where each and every one of us is empowered to bring our imagination to light and to bring it to everyone else in the world to experience in an extended dimension across AR and VR, and to monetize that effort in a new form of what we believe will supplant universal basic income. This will be the place where all of us live, work, and play. I want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for your energy, and most of all for your creativity and for your goodwill for us to continue our work and hopefully make it our collective work. We really do believe we're part of something much bigger than any one of us or this company, and we can't do it without you. Thank you so much. We look forward to sharing success together in the emerging NFT metaverse.